A and B. Okay, so the way we'll go through this, I'll do this like a lesson instead of doing this like a warm period just to make sure everyone's good. So when you factor x squared minus 4x, what you're going to do is you're going to break it into two parts. Excuse me, the first part's going to be the coefficient that is the same between both of them. The second part's going to be the variable. So between, excuse me, 1x squared and negative 4x, what number can you take out of both of them? Nothing, or just a 1, okay? So that's okay. What variable can you take out of them? They both have an x, okay? So again, both of them, x is going to be multiplied by this bracket to hopefully get x squared minus 4x. I'll put the mouse out of the way there. Okay, so x times what gives you x squared? X times x is x squared. Wonderful. And then x times what gives you negative 4x? Negative 4. And that's all there is to factoring. So what factoring is breaking an expression into two things multiplied together. That's what it is. Okay? And for quadratics, it's very, very important. Everyone close your eyes, don't put your heads on your desks. It'd be nice to look good. Who understood what just happened, for example, A? Who sort of got it but needs some more work? Okay. Letter B here is going to be a little bit more challenging here, okay, because there's letters and numbers. As I said before, I'm going to just break it into two different parts to be factor. So I'm going to look at negative 2, 4, and negative 6. I'm going to leave the variables out for now. What number can I factor out of all three of those? Aiden, go. Yeah, I'm going to choose a different number, though. 2 is technically correct. I like a number a little bit better. What else can I use other than 2? Yeah, there. I'm going to use negative 2. Now, you don't have to. 2 is still technically correct. Why might I want to use negative 2 here, though? Yeah, there's more positives inside the brackets. Generally, when we want to have it happen, is you want the biggest number there, the biggest variable to be positive. Yes? Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. That's coming up next, okay? Now, the reason it has, and we want to share why you chose x to go with it. Good, okay, right? So what you're doing is you're looking at each of the three terms, what number can they all be divided by, and then also what letter, what symbol. Very good. Yes? Yes. Okay, so then we're going to do the same thing we did before. I'm going to look at this, I'm going to say, well, negative 2 times what gives you negative 2? Well, that's 1, right? And x times what gives you x cubed? Remember, this is just like foiling what we're doing here, right? So this times this should equal that number up there. That's what we're trying to do. Great, so negative 2 times what gives you positive 4? Negative 2, good. And then x times what gives you x squared? Good. And just as a check, negative 2 times negative 2x times negative 2x, if we're distributing here, should give you positive 4x squared. All right, finally, negative 2 times what gives you negative 6? Negative 3, I heard negative 3, that's wrong. Plus 3, right, because like negatives and positives, okay? And then x times what gives you x? Nothing, or 1. Now again, for Aiden's answer, when I follow this out, that gives me the same answer. This is still technically okay, it just looks a little messier. And that's what Aiden had for his answer, right? If I distribute this out, like it's not wrong, okay, at all. It's still correct, but I prefer this. I prefer the first example. Okay, does that help a little bit? No, but 1 nod, that's okay. Yes, 2 nods, good. All right, I'm going to go through the homework right now, then I'll come back to letter C. Okay, because I want to get all this factoring stuff while we're going well. Please be brave and ask a question here for this. And if you're saying, oh, yeah, factoring, this looks awful. This is all we're doing for the next month of your lives. Okay, I shouldn't say, you get a week off in March break, okay? But other than that week off in March break, this is like the biggest factor, it's the most important thing. While you're on the beach, Bailey, or wherever you're going, you should be thinking in your brain, factoring, that's what you should be doing, okay? All right. Okay, let's do 9 after 10, okay? So this is from last night here. Number 10 is a little bit tricky. Let's start with a messy one like this. 9 after says, if you got this last night, wonderful, that's tremendous, okay? So this says 10 c cubed d minus 8 cd squared plus 2CD. Now I'm going to do this very, very slow. There will be some people in the class that can look at this and instantly get the common factor with no thought. I'm going to break it into 3 parts though. I'm going to start with Lindsay, I think, because you're sitting at the front here. If I look at the numbers 10 and negative 8 and 2, what do those all divide by? Good. All right, Noah, if I look at C cubed, C, and C, what do all those divide by? 1, yes, but as far as what letter do they all have in them? C, C, good. So they can all, a C can be factored of all of them, okay? Spencer, D squared, and D, what can they all be factored out? D can be in of all of them. Okay, are we okay on where I got that? What's coming out? Please be brave. All I do is I broke it into 3 spots. Some people will be able to look at it and just say, like Caleb looks at that and instantly sees 2CD, he takes it out, no problem. Okay, right, but if you need to break it into 3 parts, that's what you should do. All right. Maya. 2 times what gives you 10? Good. C times what gives you C cubed? C, careful, C squared, right? Like the C is the 1 plus C squared is C cubed. And finally, D times what gives you D? 1, so nothing, okay? And if you're thinking when you distribute here, 2CD times 5, well 2 times 5 is 10, C times C squared is C cubed, and D times nothing is D. This is how it lines up. All right, Jana, same thing. 2 times what gives you negative 8? Negative 4, but yes, okay. C times what gives you C?
C, 1.
The 1 or nothing, okay. And then D times what gives you D squared?
D squared.
Just D, not D squared, okay? That's just the way to think, right? If you do 2 times negative 4, that's negative 8, right? C times 1, nothing or 1 gives you C, and then D times D gives you D squared. Just think like you're multiplying. Well, because you're timesing though, right? Like we're doing distributive law, right? So you're doing this. That's what we're doing. That's your timesing. All right, Alyssa. On the right hand side, 2 times what gives you 2?
1.
Right? C times what gives you C? Nothing or 1. And D times what gives you D? 1. So that was easy. That one's just 1. That's it. Now again, if you're starting out and you're not confident in your factoring skills, that's okay. But what I would recommend that you do, Luke, is distribute it to check. Okay, that's the way you can check these. Factoring, I didn't get to do my big spiel yesterday, I'm going to do it now though. Factoring is the opposite to FOILing, right? They're exact opposite operations here, okay? So I should be able to distribute this and end up with exactly the same thing that I had here, right? So that's going to be 10 C cubed D minus 8 CD squared plus 2 CD. And that's it for that, which is what we have. No? Yes?
Yes.
Why is it buzzing? Okay, I'll see it buzzing. Okay, 10B and 10F. Okay, 10B I'm going to do myself, 10F I'll give you guys a chance to try. So 10B looks like this. AX minus AY plus BX minus BY. All right, this again is wonderful, wonderful, wonderful factoring. All right, Cassie, I'm going to start with you. What I'm going to do here, and you're going to help me, I'm just going to put a little dotted line down the middle of the page. Because what Cassie and I are going to do, we're going to factor this side separately, and then we're going to factor that side separately. So Cassidy, what's common between AX minus AY? What can they both be divided by? Good. Cassidy, you're not done yet. What is left inside the brackets? Yes? Great. Okay, so what we just did was we just took each half of each branch and factored that. Please be brave and ask if there's a question on that. Yeah, they all follow? Sure. That's it. That's true. It's not. All right. All right, Liam, on the right-hand side now, for bx minus by, what do they both have in them? Great, what's left inside the brackets? Very good. And again, if you need to check, we're not going to check, but if you needed to, b times x is bx, b times negative y is negative by. Now this is the part that was sort of new from yesterday. I guess all this was new. But this was the factoring by grouping thing on the right-hand side. The way the factoring by grouping goes is, you're going to take the x minus y out. What's left in the other bracket then? Natalie, go ahead. Okay, a plus b. Now this freaks people out every year, so I'm going to show you why this works. I didn't have a chance to do this yesterday. Okay? Let's pretend we had like a times z plus b times z. How would you factor a times z plus b times z? How would that factor? That's still picking on you. How do you factor az plus bz? Good. Well, that's all we did here, right? Except for instead of having a z, we had an x minus y, right? So you took them both out to the front, and the leftover part was a plus b. So we did the same thing that we did here, but there just happens to be brackets. Yes, Emily?
So is the final answer a minus y times a plus or x?
Yes, this is your final answer, okay? And if you take a look, this is actually in factored form, right? So this is in, like, we'll get into, we're going to show how to do this for any number here in the next few days. But this right here, this is correct. This, forget about this. This is just a demonstration. No, you got to keep going to here. You got to keep going to here. All right? All right, so I'm going to give you guys one of these to try for yourself right now, which is letter F. Okay, if you're done your homework last night, good. If you're not, that's okay. Okay, so let's try 10F for me right now. 10F says, whoops. 10F says this. What I want for right now, if the last step getting from here to here is tricky, that's fine. At least get to here first, and then we'll deal with getting from here to here. Is everyone okay on how I got the first step? Okay, we'll deal with the second step in a minute, okay? But we'll with practice. So 10F says, oh, Mr. Sadler. Yeah, all right. I can't believe I'm doing this one. Okay, you guys can do this. Great self-confidence. Do not be afraid. This says 4mnt minus 16mn minus t plus 4. Oh my goodness. Hallelujah when I look at that question. So do the same way we did before to start with, before you're afraid. Draw your dotted line down the middle of the page and factor these two with common factors, then factor the right-hand side with common factors. All right? Now hit pause in the video.